When the news of President Trump's infection came out, Putin and Kim Jong-un immediately sent a message to pray for his quick recovery. According to the Kremlin, President Putin wrote his message, "I'm confident that your innate vitality, outstanding mental strength, and optimism will help you overcome this dangerous virus." On the same day, Kim Jong-un also sent, "I'm sorry to you and your family, you will get through it." It was the first time that Kim Jong-un has publicly sent a message to a foreign leader who has been infected, and that drew attention from the world. Even Tedros, Secretary General of the World Health Organization, where President Trump declared the U.S. withdrawal last July, sent a message, "I hope the Trump couple will recover completely and quickly." Xi Jinping, who did not send a message right away, was embarrassed. Because the better relations between Putin and Kim Jong-un, WHO, and President Trump, the more prominent the fact that America's current greatest enemy appears to be China. Embarrassed, Xi Jinping sent a message 2 days later, "Me and my wife feel very sorry for your couple's infection." However, despite Xi Jinping's letter, the US immediately began imposing super strong sanctions on China. The US Immigration Bureau announced a super strong policy that bans all CCP members from immigrating. For ensuring security in the United States, the United States does not accept members of the Communist Party or other totalitarian parties or related agencies, even someone with past records of those groups. 3 months ago, after China passed the Hong Kong security law in July, the US announced that the Trump administration is considering a travel ban to the United States by members of the CCP and their families. Because the US entry ban is a very effective way to keep the CCP in check. On July 16, Hu Xijin, editor-in-chief of Global Times, criticized the US decision, calling it as the craziest idea of Washington's policy towards China on Weibo. The United States is trying to drive all Chinese out of the US. When this policy is actually implemented, it's more than a diplomatic break. Also, it's very vicious. But when the US immigration law was actually passed on October 2nd, he tweeted like he was very grateful for it. The decision by the US helps keep more talent in China since it takes out their illusion, not bad. But the situation was different from what he thought. As soon as this news from Immigration Bureau was reported, the search for the word "tiudang", which means to withdraw from a communist party, escalated in China. In China in particular, the number of views on the word increased by more than 60%. Also, there was a specific sentence, "How can I leave Communist Party?" Chinese experts have issued the following statement on this. The Chinese government is blocking access to overseas sites like Google. Therefore, it is highly likely that the people who can access Google with Chinese IP are upper class in China. Most of the users who searched for leaving from the party seem to be high-ranking members of the CCP. The CCP currently has more than 92 million members. This is a consequence of the fact that Chinese people automatically join the Communist Party's sub-organizations, the Young Pioneers of China, and the Communist Youth League of China. So this news makes most Chinese people sit up and take notice. According to the American think tank, Immigration Policy Institute, 2.5 million Chinese immigrants were staying in the United States in 2018. Most of these are business people, high-ranking Communist Party officials, and their family members who hide their assets in the United States. Hence, this political blow has grave consequences for them. Actually, the spokesperson of China, Hu Chang'in, also said, the purchase of the San Francisco's luxury mansion in 2015 was for the residence of the middle school daughter studying in the US. Also, the former spokesperson of China, Geng Xiang, who took her middle school daughter to New York last July. President Xi Jinping's daughter and Premier of China, Li Keqiang's daughters are known to have studied at Harvard. And when this became known, Chinese netizens left derisive comments. Is anti-American a job? And is studying abroad a life? Shouldn't you let your daughters have a Chinese communist education, not American voting capitalism education? In July, Hu Chang'in announced its position on banning communist members from entering the United States. No force will stop the Chinese people from choosing the right way, and she was immediately criticized. is the right way to buy a house in the United States and send your daughter to study in the U.S.
现在美国官方还没有人出来澄清这是不是 fake news， 但是我想，如果这个报道属实的话呢，那美方无疑就是公然的选择与14亿中国人民作对，公然的占世界1/5人口的中国人民的对立面，这是完全违背中美两国人民的意愿和21世纪的潮流的。中国共产党领导是中国特色社会主义最本质的特征。正是在中国共产党的领导下，中国人民赢得了独立、自由和解放，而且在国家建设和发展进程中不断取得伟大的成就。时间已经证明，中国特色社会主义道路不仅使14亿中国人民摆脱了贫困落后，也再次让中华民族为人类的进步事业做出了重大的贡献。任何国家、任何人、任何势力都没有任何资格来否定中国人民选择的已经被实践证明是正确的道路，更没有任何能力能够阻挡中国继续坚定不移地沿着中国特色社会主义道路继续前进。
Current affair critic Tang Hao said the U.S. new policy as a super strong measure that would deal a devastating blow to the CCP. If senior officials of the CCP fail to meet their families in the future, and if property management became difficult, the pressure on Xi Jinping will increase. A former leader of the Tiananmen pro-democracy movement, Wang Dan, also said on Facebook, "These political decisions will have enormous effects if certain circumstances and concrete implementations also interact. Indeed, if the United States continue these price sanctions against the CCP will pay a heavy price, and there is even possibility that the party will collapse." But even before the bill's passage, CCP members are being deported from U.S. airports. On last September 17th, Zhang Chunju, who has worked as an immigration consultant for a U.S. law firm for 15 years, uploaded this picture in his tweet. "I just got call from my client. A U.S. citizen's father was deported on the spot at the airport because he was a party member. The U.S. custom official interrogated him for a long time, and although he has a valid 10-year U.S. tourist visa, the official told him he could not enter the country." When many Chinese in the U.S. started asking about immigration problems, Zhang Chunju replied, "It is best to leave the party as soon as possible. This could be the first time the United States intend to completely ban all the members of the CCP and their families from entering the United States." This shows that the United States is really serious about restricting the immigration and entry of CCP members. Also, Hong Kong's Apple Daily's report caused great confusion among overseas Chinese. Recently, U.S. immigration officials asked, "Are you Communist Party member?" And that person stated, "I have not paid any dues in a long time, so I can no longer be a party member. I must have been automatically expelled from the party." Nevertheless, he was refused entry to U.S. This scene shows participants in the parade in New York on April 22, 2018, holding up a declaration of resignation from the party, issued by the NGO Global Quitting Service Center. U.S. Customs recognized the Global Quitting Service Center's exit certificate as a valid document that can be used to determine whether a potential U.S. immigrant is a member of the Communist Party or has resigned. And now the New York-based NGO GQSC recently launched an online service to help Chinese people quit the CCP quickly and easily get the exit certificate. This proves that the CCP has actually started to fall apart. In July, the U.S. forcibly closed the Consulate General in Houston, which was first opened in the United States in 1979, when the United States and China had diplomatic relations. U.S. Senator Marco Rubio said, "The Consulate General in Houston was a spy center of the Communist Party and their network." In addition, Minister Pompeo strongly criticized the CCP in front of the Nixon Library in California, saying that, "If the free world does not change the CCP will change us."
If the free world doesn't change, Communist China will surely change us. Indeed, Richard Nixon was right when he wrote in 1967 that the world cannot be safe until China changes. Now it's up to us to heed his words. Today, the danger is clear, and today the awakening is happening. Today, the free world must respond. We can never go back to the past.
Also last month, the US ambassador to China, Branstad, who is known as Xi Jinping's best friend, left China without even saying any words. Last month also, 1,000 Chinese students were forcibly deported on charge of relation with Chinese militants and spies. So diplomatic relations between China and the United States are about to break down. But that's not the end. Xi Jinping believed that Europe would support China, but nowadays they are also showing signs of proceeding with similar measures as the United States. On last 1st, the UK government announced that it will be stepping up the screening process from next month to see if Chinese students are involved with the Chinese military. And actually, on last 1st, the Times revealed that hundreds of Chinese students were denied entry into the UK. The British government official announced, "As an open country, we welcome foreign students including from China, but we will not accept collaborations which compromise our national security, and ATAS is one of the robust procedures we have in place to protect national security and counter foreign interference." Thanks for watching. Be safe.